And we are live.
Good morning.
Good morning. Then we're just waiting for people to join in, Ma. How are you this Sunday morning?
I'm so happy and excited, and it's such an auspicious day of Makar Sankranti.
Yes, Ma.
It's celebration.
It's always celebration with you, but tell us more about this, Uttarayan, or the sun moving into this northern sphere, and why is it considered auspicious across various...
fills our world with the light for the first 6 months of the year, where everything auspicious happens and everything that the human soul is connecting to, whether it's enlightenment, whether it's intelligence, whether it's wisdom.
Yes.
It's always the energy of bonding with goodness. And I think that the most important thing is that even if people don't understand it, it's still the effulgent energy of the illuminating sun is very purifying, because at other points of time the sun could be burning up our even our good fortune sometimes if we are not very proactive with the light. But in this time frame, the sun is just mopping up the negative and is giving us a great confluence of light that is helping us to embark with clear sight on our path and do the right things, say the right things, live the right way, and treat others in our sphere of influence with goodness in our heart and compassion. And the river of light flows from our heart, and the confluence of that light with other people is also generating goodness. So it is full of the light time. So let's rejoice and have fun.
Let's rejoice and have fun.
Yeah.
And as everyone's joining in, they of course are saying pranams, Ma, to you.
Good morning.
And happy Makar Sankranti.
Sending you lots and lots of love and blessings and light and healing. Of course, every day is as important as today, but today is just a little bit more special. I know that in the shivering cold, there'll be many people on the ghats of Mother Ganga. They'll be bathing to activate some more purity and significance of clarity in their lives. And just by their act, the human race is also being collectively dipping in the pond of auspicious grace. So we are very grateful to all those spiritual souls who are endeavoring to participate in this spiritually opulent day.
And so how can we participate? Just by thought or action in our own homes, wherever we are in the world?
Yeah, today in the Let's Heal this morning, I was talking about the confluence of the bathing waters that are coming down from the spiritual world. That's almost like salt water. That's really like a psychic energy that's coming down to wash away the negative, whether it's negative relationships, whether it's negative influences, even negative thoughts that we are generating from our own hearts, and sometimes we are not so kind to ourselves. And then I talked about the smoke bath. Smudging, that the smoke is coming down and it's purifying, like even at sunrise and sunset we use that camphor and we use frankincense and myrrh, and we create that smoky brilliance to take away the negative. So that also we did in the morning today. So one is of course thinking that it's happening, and as healers empowering it with symbol sets and the healing light, and otherwise actually doing it physically in the body form, because there's the body, then there's the spirit, then the soul, and then finally of course it's the mind that's creating. So like attracts, the law of attraction also works on the way you think and the way you plan and conjecture, and how the impact of other people's thoughts comes and touches your inner self.
And our consciousness, and how we react and attract
the
energies. Yes.
Sometimes we do attract the negative.
And why is that, Mom?
Because we are sometimes so judgmental and so unhappy with our own sphere of life and our choices that we think it's somebody else's fault.
And we don't want to take responsibility for the
Yeah.
life we've created.
Yeah. Somebody could accidentally be pushing accidentally just sweeping maybe a flower vase on the floor, and they don't want to take responsibility, and they'll say, oh, I think there's some evil spirit here that's doing it, right?
Yes, Mom.
Because they want to put the blame on somebody else. I'm saying even a simple thing like that.
Like that can be so
misguided, misdirected thought that it's not my fault and I don't need to apologize, it's somebody else's fault.
So
Right?
how do we break through this somebody else's fault mentality?
I think that the year 2023 has started with the planetary influence of the planet Ketu, or the head of the dragon, which means that we are going to be doing a lot of mental activities that could just influence the way we live our life. And if we are thinking negative, then for sure we are going to create some negative episodes in our life. So, and of course, if we think positive, then lots of good things are also going to happen. So I think that one of the messages of 2023 is to stop speculating, stop being judgmental, and definitely watch how you speak.
Okay.
In fact, we have some people staying over with us, and we were talking to them, and we were explaining that how generating respect for for the other is actually showing respect for yourself.
Yes,
And
Mom.
even how you address people, how you speak, how you interact will influence the end point of what you receive. Honor and self-respect, discipline and humility all are a confluence of energy that comes into your heart, and that heart has to be purified for it to stay healthy and for you to stay alive.
So the words we use for others are actually the words
That
we are using for
our own
ourselves.
soul self. Yeah. In fact, this morning I was thinking, what is the influence of the day today? And I've been flooded with ill health.
Yes, Ma. So the energy or the message for today, you said that you were
Was that
flooded
a lot
with
of
ill health.
messages, and people are really looking at their, breathing. Many of them are on oxygen support, and many of them have influenza, and some people are talking about COVID relapses, and everybody's, so the upper body is being affected.
Okay, Ma.
So somebody's passed away because they choked on a piece of food. So it's like very dramatic,
Yes, Ma.
the influence of the energy. So just do a lot of pranayam, do a lot of healing, take care of how you eat and drink water and how you speak.
So in that entire connection of how we act and how we speak and how we care for ourselves and the words that we choose,
Yeah.
just the fact that you said that the words that we choose influence us so deeply, even when we are in a very casual conversation with maybe our loved ones or the ones that we live with or surround ourselves with. So I don't know why there was this word in my mind right now, Ma, when you were saying this, that actually we should be economical
with our speech
and save the speech. Exactly. So then I was connecting to today's question, that how do I save, or how do we save? And so what I want to ask you, Ma, in this moment is, and I think it's really an interesting thing that's come up, that when we say how do I save, mostly like the mind goes to money. But in 2023 specifically, and of course generally in our lives, what are the things that we should save? So right now I've just sort of realized that being economical with our speech is saving not only the speech, but saving hurt and pain and abuse to the self and to the other. So what are the other things that we can save?
It's very interesting that we are going to be celebrating our Republic Day.
Yes, on the 26th of January.
And I remember as a child going to, Rajpath to see the cavalcade and to enjoy the presence of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's, love for children, and he was always very interactive. But I remember that the first thing that used to come would be these elephants with little kids on it who were being honored by the country and I remember 2 or 3 instances, and one of them was this young girl had jumped into the river to save 2 other people from drowning because she knew how to swim, so she had saved them, right? So that was very important, and the government had recognized her contribution to saving life. And without fear, she had jumped in and she had managed to pull both those souls and give them a life opportunity. So, and then the other was one that there was a tiger in the village, and this person had made a lot of noise with the utensils in the house to scare that
predator
away, and to raise the alarm for other villagers to come rushing in to help, right?
Yes.
So it was very interesting, and I'm going back maybe 60 years telling this story. So it's interesting that we are looking at saving. So we could be saving someone's human life, we could be saving someone's mental sanity, we could be saving relationships, we could be saving a marriage, we could be saving ourselves from abuse, or some kind of threat to our safety in a social situation. And we could also be saving money, saving ourselves from hurt and pain, and saving ourselves from, like you said, words that we should never have spoken. Sometimes people say, oh, I wish I had not spoken. That just slipped out by accident. But nothing is by accident. It's a plan of the soul and the spirit and our mind, and the body is speaking, doing the act of speaking. We can't blame our lips and our mouth for saying why, because there is a very subtle, intuitive, performing self, the witness self inside, that is also talking and is speaking and is creating karmic destiny influences that will impact the way we live, the way we think, the way we do, and the way we touch each other's lives. And so we have to be very, very, very vigilant on how we are doing things.
So are there any go-to steps or tools that can be applied across all these various areas of saving and safety? So could you highlight those for us?
I'm reminded of a little story of a little boy who used to clean cars, in the neighborhood, and then he used to go to school. And I used to always admire him that, he was helping his family support their lifestyle. And he would come running in the morning, and he used to also clean the car for the family, and I used to always ask him that, what do you do with the money that you earn? So he had said that he gives it to his dad, and his dad is saving it for him. And then one time he wanted to buy a bicycle. So he went to his dad and he said, where is that, can I have my money? I want to go and buy this bicycle. And the father said, but there is not enough. So when he was doing the calculation, he knew that he had earned more than what his father was claiming he had. So the father had obviously used the money for maybe, drinking some alcohol or something. And so this boy one day came and he was very pensive, and I remember I was sitting and listening to him. And he said that I've learned a very important lesson. So I was, looking at him with deep curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, tell me, he said that when you earn your money, you should never let anybody else control it.
Okay.
Because if you've given it away to somebody, then that means that they have right over it and they're going to choose to do what they want with it. So when you earn, you must keep it with yourself and you must use it the way you want. And then when I thought about it, and I realized that not only was it very, very true in the process of living life, that when you do earn your money and you give it to somebody else to take care of it, people say it's family funds, and somebody will say this is, a collective enterprise, and somebody else is taking charge of it. So sometimes what you're earning for, you may not have that fulfillment. The same way in relationships, also you have to nurture and you have to give of yourself, and you also have to receive from the other. So, it is, I give this very classic example of one daughter-in-law cooking all the food and sweating, in the stove and the fire and making everything and arranging it on a very nice tea tray or a dinner plate, and everything is very ostentatiously prepared, and then the other daughter-in-law comes and takes the tray and serves it to the family, and the family is not seeing the hard work of the other daughter-in-law, but they're very pleased with the one who's serving and who's just a little bit pretending. So it's the same way that when you're putting the effort, you should also be insistent that you take it forward to the end destination.
Yes,
are you getting what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so that is one. And the third is also about studying, books, that we have to save enough time to interact with the books. Like this is, of course, for students who are preparing or going through their education plan, that if they are, interacting with their books in an appropriate way, the books are also going to intuitively give them the knowledge, the script, the words that are hinging on activating their memory chakras and giving them the height of intelligence and balance, so that they are also formulating excellence in their life and saving themselves the intellect and the intelligence to use in their destiny forward, and nourish their own spiritual self and the academic self and professional self, because whatever education that you're going to put out there into the universe is going to collaborate with your physical body, with your mind, with your karmic destiny, to create a great job opportunity where you're going to be able to earn not only for yourself and keep that earning in your control, but also to enhance your life skills and your style of living, and getting food for your family, clothing, shelter, and all the other entertainment, and watching movies, and maybe going to a restaurant to eat. People are spending their money in so many experiential ways, and experience is very important. So our mind does save a lot more of the experiences than the money that you spent on trying to, So I was just, Divya and I were talking this morning, and I remember when she was little, I'd got her this little rock.
A stone, yeah.
as a gift. And we had washed it and cleaned it. We had got it from a riverbed, I think somewhere in
Dehradun.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a very, very sweet gift that I had exchanged with her. And she had given me a pine cone, and I'd given her this rock. And I still have the pine cone, and it sits on my table.
Office desk, yes.
And this rock sits on her bedside table. And what is it? Like a confession rock.
It's a rock to tell your secrets. So you said that any time that I was missing you, or I wanted to tell you something and you weren't around, I could just tell it to the rock, and it would transmit the message into your heart.
Yeah.
And it's been my best friend over all these years.
So we saved time.
Saved some heartfelt messages within that rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we still have it.
Absolutely.
Very precious.
Very, very precious.
So it depends on what you're saving, the experience, the interaction. She could have, if she didn't have the rock, she could have been missing me and wasted so much time. But that deep connection in that moment gave her so much time to do other things.
Absolutely.
So So that's how what saving is about, right? So going back to the boy's story, that when you have something you've worked hard for, keep it very much in your own jurisdiction to be able to use appropriately.
So everyone's resonating. We have Megha who says, "Oh," and Rita Auntie who says, "So beautiful." And Chandishi, both three, she's up late or early?
Early.
So she says, "That's very sweet and profound." Yeah, I mean, it's right there. And Mayank asks, "Does the rock have a name?"
Yeah.
It has a secret name.
Yes. It's called the Loving Rock.
The Loving Rock, absolutely. So these are just, I think, such, I think Kavita only said, no, Chandashi says that it's very sweet and profound that in the gentlest of actions, we can unlock so much prosperity of emotion, of interaction, of establishing a continuity and a healing moment for ourselves. And so, yeah, I'd invite everyone who's listening in to apply this to their own lives. Like, what is it that they want to save in relationships? Is it even memories? Like, are we going to save the good memories, or are we going to save all the arguments and the hurtful words and maybe our own misunderstanding of a situation or a misperception?
There was once, a little boy who used to love saving all the money that his mom and dad would give him, and he would never spend it. And he was saving and saving and saving. And when he was saving, he was putting it in a little bag. And then wherever he was going, he would hide this little bag somewhere in his cupboard, in his clothes, and so that nobody could know where it was. And one day, the parents were going shopping. So he decided that he's also going to go to a candy store and buy some sweets and all. So he took his little pouch of money, and now he wanted to make sure that nobody takes that money away from him, not his parents and not his siblings who were in the car with him. So he put the money bag under his hip so that he could feel the comfort of knowing that his money was there. And then they stopped at a petrol, station, and now he wanted to, use the washroom. So he was wondering that should I take my pouch with me or should I leave it? And then he decided that he will leave it. It's safe in the car. So he went, and when he came back to find that the money bag was missing. So he kept looking and saying that it was right here, and everybody said, "We didn't see it, we didn't see it, we didn't see it." And he was really, really crestfallen that he had saved and saved and saved, and then suddenly this thing had disappeared. And he kept looking and he kept telling his parents, I had brought it and it was right here. And so they just kept convincing him it wasn't there, wasn't there, wasn't there. And then he went to the mall and his parents said, "Take the money, buy whatever you want." And he said, "No, but I want my own money, my own money." And then when he came back, his dad gave him the pouch, and so he said that, "Why didn't you give it to me in the, earlier?" So he said, "I didn't want you to waste the money on candy and things, So he looked at his father and he said, "But it was my money, and how did you take ownership over it?" So then again, there's two ways of looking at it, right? What is the first way? That how you should never, ever trust anyone with your money.
Okay.
And the second one is that you should also know that people will take what belongs to you without your permission. And the third is that other people will start telling you what you can do with your money and what you can't do with your money. And it may not be so appropriate for you. So always never lose sight of the money that you have earned and how you have to keep it and where you have to use it. And, if you want to buy the candy, then sure, maybe that candy is going to give you some pleasure that nothing else would give. And this missing money gave that boy so much heartache that even when he grew up, he was still remembering how he was not allowed to buy that candy.
Wow.
And his father stole his money was the memory that he created. Right?
So was the child right in thinking that the father stole his money, or that was...
Yeah, of course, the soul is right.
Right, the soul is right.
But the soul is a little boy, and the father is saying that he's going to take this. Maybe it was $100 or 100 rupees, and he's going to just bust it up, and he's saved and saved. So he's trying to support that. And maybe saying that if he buys, then the father will pay for it. But he doesn't buy anything because he's looking for his own money.
So then how to treat himself. So then how does that balance
the karma?
How does the karma balance, and how does, as a parent, what do you do? Like, I can share what you did with my birthday money, or any auspicious time money. It was that you always sort of had a conversation on what I wanted to buy or spend it in,
or put it in
the bank. And I think that there was already like an encouragement to put it in the bank. So I think there are a lot of parents listening in. So even if your child is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they're never young enough or too little to teach them how to save their money in the bank. And maybe make a deal with them that if they've got $100, then $20 they can spend, and 80% they should save.
And you know, I was reading a statistic somewhere that in India, we are the civilization or the human race that does a lot of saving. We are almost saving 33% of our income.
Yes,
and yet we are poor.
Yes.
Why? Because we know how to save, but we don't know how to invest.
So even though we are saving and we're putting that $80 in the cupboard, because of inflation, it becomes 80 becomes 60, and that becomes 50, and so you're always playing catch up.
Yeah, and we're not putting it in the bank, and we're not putting it as an investment, or we are not putting it down as maybe buying some shares or something. So we need to teach our children how to not only save the money, but also how to invest it.
So we have Megha who's resonating with this. She says that I do this with Ridan. She says, oh my God, I take his birthday money and control how he must spend it. Else it would all be spent on video games. I don't steal, of course. I keep it with his knowledge. But now you must collaborate and help him save and invest. Yes.
And teach him how to invest and how to make his money grow. And teach him how to go to the bank and how to deposit and how... It's a great thrill and it's a great skill.
Yes.
Especially after the age of 9, 10.
Absolutely.
I think they can do a lot of calculations about how it's going to grow. And
absolutely.
I have a manager whose son is always loaning his mother the money. And he's taking interest on it and putting it back in the bank. And how old is he, I think?
He must be 11 or 12. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he's very smart.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm always sending him a little bit more for his bank and to put it in the... So
everyone's saving is very important. And everyone is...
Saving relations.
Yes, that is the mantra. To save relationships, Nama.
Yeah, that's the biggest truth of human enterprise. That we have to save our relationship with the divine, our link with the spiritual energy, and our link with sound, because whatever we hear impacts us a lot more. But what we see is the highest impact. So when we see the truth, or we see our money missing, or we see that, people are cheating us or taking away something that we feel rightfully belongs to us and we don't have control over it, we're actually slowly slicing the soul power and diminishing it and not empowering. So I think that as parents and as nurturing adults in people's lives, and even with the same age, partners, life partners, siblings, we need to accentuate how we can support and create a balance of of togetherness in taking something forward. So
Yes,
even
ma'am.
if you're going to a restaurant and you are ordering something, you have to be a little bit expert at making sure that you don't over order. And it's always nice to take a goodie bag home, but I find that mostly people don't eat what they take home,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes. And sometimes they even forget to pick up that goodie bag because
yeah,
they think it's not
appropriate.
appropriate. I don't know why that is, ma.
Yeah, because they think that it's leftovers.
Okay. Even though it's their own leftovers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not leftovers.
It was in the
just
serving
a
bowl.
feast.
The
It's
feast.
a feast.
Yeah.
That they can take home and partake of the next day, or maybe if they've gone out for lunch they can eat it at dinner, but they will say, oh, it's so boring, the same thing again.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And so we have Ashwini Bhaiya who joins
Good
in.
morning, love
He-
you, Vita.
Yes, he says, love you, mom, bowing at your lotus feet. Love you from the bottom of our hearts. And he's also talking about his two boys, the lovely
Yes.
Vihan and Kunal. And he's saying, Ma, in our case, we have asked Vihan to keep collecting and then deposit in the bank on a monthly basis. And he too loves checking the balance. But somehow this is not working with Kunal yet.
Yeah, because Kunal has not been taught as vigilantly as we are teaching Vihan. And Kunal is thinking he has a rich dad, no?
Mm-hmm.
So dad is going to give everything. So sometimes we have to hold back our
Yes,
love,
ma'am.
our affection, and we have to let the river of justice and intelligence flow. And we have to keep going at it till they learn. And we have to
Amazing.
recall and cancel that it's not working. I'm going to
Yes.
send healing that
It's
super
super working. And
Yeah.
then we have Pashruti who
So
says,
sweet.
good morning, Master.
Good
My father
morning.
has always encouraged to invest rather than save. I am loving this conversation.
Yeah, he's a good dad.
He's a good dad.
Appreciate him more.
Suma, I have a question that to take this entire conversation in the last 10 minutes about saving money and investing, and people are writing in the comment section about finance and maybe teaching their children how to invest in stocks or property and so many things. How can a parent teach their child, or as adults who are now all grown up, how can we teach ourselves or connect with ourselves to actually save relationships? Because what I am finding is that regardless of age, there is something going on globally in our society where we feel that relationships are something to be discarded, that they're just like tissue paper, that it's like a use and throw mentality. So why is that?
We are in the 2-minute Maggie noodle age where everything is quick service and the self is very important and magnified. And people don't have time. I remember when we were kids, we could drop into each other's homes and we could, go in for a cup of tea and spend time or even go to play. And today, even a play date is an inconvenience, right? Unless you've set it up a few weeks in advance and the parents have to get everything perfectly right in that moment. So it's not a spontaneous interaction. It's more like a planned interaction. It's like, I sometimes look at it, it's like a surgical strike, You're going there and you are premeditating on what you're going to say, how you're going to behave, what you're going to wear, and how you wore this dress the last time you went there, now you need a new dress, and how you cooked this last time they came, so you can't even repeat the menu. And it's all about showing other people what you have instead of showing your soul self, your heart, your mind, your intellect, and your love and your compassion and your intuitive response to another soul. So I feel that people are not paying so much attention to each other because they're so being taught to be materialistic and not spiritual.
Yes, Mike, I'm understanding that. That's quite
That we are not seeing the
the
goodness.
goodness. Yes,
And we're
ma'am.
not really getting to know what's inside. We're just looking at the dressing outside. So it's very material, how somebody lives, where they live, which car they drive,
How they
how
dress.
they dress, and what perfume they use, what bag they carry, what shoes they're wearing. It's all like very
Materialistic.
fluff on the top.
Fluff on the top. I like that visual.
Yeah.
And from what you just said, my takeaway is two things. One, that how in this question of how do we nurture and save relationships is time. Give time.
Giving time,
That
yeah.
is just the biggest commodity, isn't it,
Yeah.
in our lives. And the second is to change our vision or our perception when we're in that time zone with the person. Or
No,
what are we
the
supposed to
second
do?
thing is the
Yes.
love
The
that
love.
you have, and the need to share and feel that bond and that comfort with each other. So time and love are the two most important ingredients that you have. The generosity of spirit, of sharing, whether it's your intelligence, whether it's a skill, whether it's a hobby, you're sharing something with the other and you're giving them the time.
Time.
And even with your children, it's not so much about what a great meal you had at a 5-star hotel. It could be just a very simple meal at home, but cuddling and laughing and talking and sharing and creating that sense of comfort and belonging for each other, and saving time.
Saving time.
That will not be wasted in anguish and complaints later on, because you made it right there.
So in this soup of ingredients of saving relationships, in this recipe, would the third ingredient also be respect, as we were discussing in the morning and you shared with others, that the words that we use, again going
And
back
it's
to the
respect,
economical
the
words
respect.
of respect?
Yeah, I remember when I was teaching, and we were designing this play in Delhi Public School with 1,700 kids. And I remember that each of the kids who was coming on stage was looking at the community or the parents that were watching. Each of them wanted to identify that was their parent really in the audience watching them perform. For them, it was very, very important. And I remember some of them were saying that my parents is not going to come. And
Yes.
so, they were like, their performance was half-hearted. So the response from a parent making that time to come, to share, to convert that, that performance into a skill-building talent of appreciation, love and generosity was very, very important. Nowadays people say, oh, we'll see the, what did they call it? Video.
Yes.
And we'll capture it and dad will see it. And, it was so good, so good. So they're pumping up, and the child's soul knows that they're telling a lie. There's no truth in that, because the person was not there in the moment. They were not, hearing the claps and the whistles of appreciation when the child was performing. So it's very, very important to be in that moment with that soul, telling them that they are valuable, and respect is one part of that. But to have the humility and to be devoted as a parent, that you brought this soul into the world and you'll do everything generously to support them in their upbringing, and giving them the comfort of knowing that they are so important to you. So I think that respect is definitely one aspect, but cherishing another.
Cherishing is the most
Yeah,
key.
loving and cherishing each other is very important, and for that you need time. You can't do a WhatsApp message, or you can't say that, I did FaceTime. It's actually going across even continents to meet.
I love that, Ma.
Yeah.
And and Kavita is resonating with it. And she says that, yes, that time will not come back. That opportunity
Exactly.
will not come back. That stage performance or a birthday, or even when someone loses a loved one,
Yeah.
for you to show up physically for them is so important.
Or somebody's in the hospital,
Yes.
somebody's, dealing with
their own trials and tribulations. So you must
yeah.
show up for people.
Yeah, very important.
I love that.
Save your own responsibilities for another time, or do them early in the morning so that you have the time.
Absolutely. To share and to give of yourself. So we have Madhvi, who is in Washington, and she says that I agree with you, Divya. After moving here, I realized that people discard relationships very easily, and it sometimes makes me feel bad that people are faking it.
Yeah.
And also, if Ma can throw some light on small talk, which has become a culture that, upar se baatein karna. Ma, would you like some water?
Yeah, have it
right here. I love it. So yes, Ma. So what is small talk, and is it good? Because there are some cultures, like I think Sweden is one of them, where they don't really have small talk. They don't engage in small talk. Whereas in the US, they're like really honed this skill of making small talk and pretending and then moving on. And if you come from a culture like India, where we only talk very deep conversations, open our heart and give, then we feel like maybe slighted or cheated of that relationship, or like she's saying that it becomes like a fake interaction. So how do we understand that and heal that?
I think that one of the most important things to understand is that birds of a feather flock together. So at some point in some universal appearance in some other lifetime, you had that much of interaction with that soul left over, and so they've come for a brief moment in time. And if you had healed it, they would have passed you by on the street. But because you haven't healed it, they're going to sit and they're going to take some part of your emotional investment into their cherished hearts, and maybe they'll go away with great joy that you gave them so much, or they'll celebrate that they were able to cheat you of your knowledge or your abilities, or even made you pay for their meal or whatever it is that you did. But remember that in the process of healing, we are actually paying off a karmic debt that is setting us free. So we should always fold our hands in the namaste position and thank them, and save ourselves from that anguish of complaining and regretting that you spent that time. I always look at everything as an opportunity that I paid this off, and I'm setting myself free and I'm moving ahead, and I'm thanking them for the experience that they gave me or the lesson that I learned, but it will not color me to become somebody else. I'm still going to be who I am, and I'm going to continue to give.
So we should stay our genuine, deep, emotional, steady self. And if the souls are coming for 10 years or 10 seconds or 10 minutes, we should not feel slighted or shortchanged. I think what Madhvi is saying is that sometimes you feel shortchanged in that interaction. And so we shouldn't, because we can heal it.
Because the birds of a feather flock together. And if you keep cherishing in humility and devotion and continue to learn from those experiences, very soon what you've given into the universe will be paid back manyfold.
And it doesn't have to come from that person or that...
No, it can come from anywhere.
Anywhere in the universe. And so gratitude, the mantra that you always... it's the keystone teaching, I feel.
Yeah.
It's so
amazing. Have to be always giving. Always. And I would tell Madhvi, add the healing light. And do it in advance, that you're not repeating this experience
again.
But at the same time, you must learn from that experience also. That what is that skill that they have that you have not been able to learn? I'm not saying to become ruthless and start, cheating or
shortchanging or pretending other. No, we must stay steady in our genuine. Genuine self-study. That's the bringing lucid colors, healing the fate in humbled and true and deep love.
Yeah. So. Very important to understand that you are also on a journey, and somewhere they may be also feeling cheated.
Yes.
Because I remember once that there was this very nice, interesting healer who came to me because she had asthma, she had cancer, she had arthritis, and she was going blind in one eye, and she had thyroid, all the anger, things. And when I was healing her, and I said that, and she was a psychologist, and she said that, she was in university in Iran, and she had gone on a date and she had been raped. So now she had lived with that memory that it was, a very terrible thing that had happened to her. And then she had left university and changed college and gone on to study somewhere else. And this man that she had interacted with had also was studying psychology, right? So now when I started healing her, it's a very interesting story that when I started healing her, she was invited to a conference in Washington. That Madhvi's inspired me to share the story. And so she saw that if she participates, that gentleman's also going to be there. So now in this process of her life, she had got married, she had 2 sons, and she was very brilliantly moving ahead, writing her books. And then she was every day making these hate balls for this man and sending them to him. And do the hate balls really leave your body? No. It was only creating the disease in her body. And she was suffering. So to cut this very long story short, she went after the healing and all. She decided to go for the conference to Washington. And when she reached over there, the gentleman was there who had also, lived his life, was also a psychologist, had also written many books, and was very famous, much more famous than this lady, and was very healthy. And he had, he was very well respected. And then they met. And she said that suddenly all the hate in her heart dissolved, and she just wanted to meet him as somebody she had known in the past. And he, all his life, had sent her love and had missed her. And he said that he looked and looked and looked for her. And for him, it was an experience of great love and an expression of love, which she had taken as, as an abuse. And so he had not got married, and he still had a photograph in his wallet. And he said that she was the love of his life. And that he had not contacted her because he had then heard that she had got married and, moved on with her life, and he didn't want to come there as, a romantic, broken-hearted gentleman. And today, I have to tell you that she's very healthy. She doesn't suffer from asthma, cancer is healed, she doesn't have any arthritic pain. Thyroid medicine she takes.
Yes.
But she's, and they've co-authored a book now. So it's very interesting.
So Ma, with this, I'm stunned at this story and this sharing, that in one instance, this has like been a magnificent healing instance. But what if alternatively, like she had been actually, like, was it just in her particular case that she transformed
like that?
And
when you get touched by the healing,
yes,
whatever was the event, it will get neutralized. Because remember that in some previous karmic destiny, you have set out this karma that you had to go through something, but to continue to blame somebody else for it and also not blame yourself for it. It has to be healed from the root itself.
So that we don't blame ourselves or the other.
Yeah, we don't keep making those hate balls and then we are only crushed under the debris of that,
Yes, because I think this is a very unique example or unique story because the man genuinely had loved her, and, whatever their interaction was, that was private, and, however they both perceived it. But there are so many other people who, have been abused. Even in those situations,
you have to forgive and let go. It. And that's why healing is so
because it's
important.
like you're reliving that trauma again and again.
Regurgitating. It's like vomiting and then trying to eat that vomit again, right? That's how toxic it can be.
Yes, ma'am.
It's only going to make you more and more sick. So, and And I'm using this moment to send out the healing to all the people who have episodes of insufficiency in their life.
And traumas of all kinds.
Of all kinds, whether they're financial, emotional, physical, mental.
Or relationships.
Broken down relationships. And trust, the basic thing is that there's not sufficient trust even in a parent and child relationship, or like Madhvi just pointed out, even with people in universities, and you're trusting them to help you actualize your academic potential, and sometimes they'll just be stealing your data and using it as their own and putting it out there before you can even breathe.
Yes.
So it makes you feel that who can you really trust? But you must trust the divine, and you must trust your own intuitive skills and build on them by healing.
By practicing all that you teach us, Ma, and self-healing. Yeah. And so Neha says, thank you, Ma, for addressing resentment. Amina is here. She says, grateful for all the healing and trust. Then
truth and trust.
And Ma, you already answered Anchal's question, who says that what do we do to heal traumas like the ones you mentioned? And it's the healing. Get connected to healing.
And I'm sending you lots of love.
Lots of love. And Madhvi says, yes, Ma, definitely. Thank you so much for this teaching. It's opened my eyes and mind, healing all the relationships, genuine self, steady forever. Love for this amazing understanding. Then we have Chandashi, who says that in her 17 years of living in the US, she has been just healing and flowing with love as you, Mama, she calls you Mama, has taught her. And she said that she's never experienced anything but just these pure relationships and wonderful, unadulterated
compassion for the world that you live in.
Yes.
And it will come back to you.
Absolutely. Tenfold it will come back. Then we have Jyotika Jhalani, who says...
hello.
Yes.
She's a very old healer. How sweet.
She says, hi Renooji, how are you? Lots of love.
Love you, darling. I remember you with great affection.
Yes.
Stay well.
And then we have a few healing requests and questions. Or do we have time for that? Yeah. Yes. So we have Anu Gupta Acharya, who says, Pranam Ma, financially everything needs to be healed for us. All of a sudden monthly income is nil, and with fear the negative emotions are coming up. Unable to hold myself in this tough time. Please send healing.
Yeah, and let me tell you that, the obstacle planets for 2023 are diluting their impact, and things are going to be so much better between the 17th of January and 9th of Feb. So I'm going to send lots of healing, and you will see the twinkling light, and there will be resurrection of your financial destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So don't despair, and chant that I will live in opulence.
Absolutely, Ma. And then we have Fozia, who says, Ma'am, requesting healing for my children and my relationship with them.
Yes, big love and light to illuminate your lovely children's destiny. Things will be better.
And Kavita Mitta says that thank you for your guidance, requesting healing for me to be more aware of words that I choose. For once spoken, we cannot take them back.
Yeah, and always silence is golden. So practice silence, Maun Vrata, especially in irritating situations.
Yes, Ma.
Or irritable, when somebody gets under your skin, then you should just calm down and start bathing yourself in the golden light or the smoke, the haze. So when the smoke and the haze, you can't see things clearly. So it's better for the haze to disappear and clarity, and then you should open your mouth. So enjoy the fragrance of the smoke. It's very nice. Deep within, it'll excavate some trauma, some debris, and give you sustenance of pure golden light.
Which we're receiving now. I feel it.
Yes, I'm
sure everyone. Yes, Ma. And then we have Saurabh, who had joined in last time with his mom,
Yes,
with the
little
Tupperware
mom.
and
Yeah,
everything. So he has a question. He says, a very warm good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
My question for today would be what to do if you feel like giving up on things and calm the overthinking mind.
I think that we can never give up. It's only when the breath gives up on our body that is the end of life. And even then, there is a spiritual ascension where the soul is traveling with the angels and, moving ahead. So when you feel like giving up, and I feel that one of the best things is, even if you can't go out and it's too cold, to take 108 steps, walk in your room and connect to, doing things differently or expecting things differently from people. And remember that there are two people in this universe that you can depend on. Should I tell you the secret? One is on yourself and the other is the divine. There is nobody else who can help you as much as the divine can help you, and you yourself can orchestrate change. So definitely take some. Remember that where you want to reach, you have not walked long enough to get there. So I always encourage people that, even walking on the same spot is walking, and sometimes good luck has to come at the 112th step, and you just walk 70 steps. So, you've shortchanged yourself. So make the effort with the physical body and keep walking, and you will definitely be in a better place. Like I said, after 17th of January. I told you last time as well.
And Ma, I want to share something or just highlight again that Ma shared today also, and I don't know if people who've just joined in caught it or not, and has shared with me privately throughout before 2023 began, that because the ruling planet is Ketu, we must be very gentle with our thoughts and very gentle and kind with our words, first to ourselves and then to
the
others.
Universe, to our home.
So that we can save our mental health and save our sanity and save our mind. Yes, ma'am.
And good ways to drink lots of water.
I love that. And
the
I love
moon's
you.
light, the water is the moon. 70% of our body is water. And when we drink that water, we are also letting go of the toxic waste. And once we are cleansed, so we spend a few minutes more in the shower or taking a bath. Even if you're doing a bucket bath, pour at least 7 more mugs of water to actualize your highest potential.
Yes.
So it'll be, and we will send you healing, Saurabh.
Yes.
Don't give up.
Don't give up on anything.
Life is better in 2023, so much better.
So much better.
Health, wealth, happiness, joy, and trust, and cherishing yourself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then we have Chandashi, who says, so true, and all your teachings, Master. I just go to your page and listen to you and find all love and peace. I'm so grateful. And we have yes, there are like lots of loving messages coming in. And we have Seher Sani, who joins us, and she says, morning, Ma. Listening to you is magical. All my anxiety has gone, and I feel super fresh and happy.
And I'm surprised on the Sunday morning she's up
so early.
I love you.
No, I saw Riza as well, but I think Ray is back in the US.
Yeah,
yes,
she's back
I think
in the
so.
US.
She's back in the US.
She went back.
Absolutely.
Happy days are coming.
Happy days are here to stay.
Really?
Really.
And all of you will be reporting by March that we are so much happier. And so much fun. So stay happy today. And definitely today is a good day to give something, some food or some rice to any souls that you can find, even if it's birds.
Absolutely. And Parshruti says, love you, Master. And we have Dolma joining in today.
Oh.
She says, grateful with lots of love, Renooji and Divya. We love you.
Love you. Where is she?
Where are you? Which part of the world are you?
Yeah,
Reza is here. She says, thank you so much, Ma.
Love you.
The whole year is just, I feel like a very bubbling energy at the end of today's Sunday Collective.
Save.
And
save the money, save the relationship, save the trauma for another day.
Heal it.
Heal it, and save yourself from anguish and pain and a constant, networking with your pain, your anguish, and start focusing on the good things. Just that we are breathing is such a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Okay, love you all. God bless. Be happy. Stay well. Love. Bye.